It was a little after 2 in the morning when my little sister Piri and I left the cinema. The midnight screening was in a nearby major city about 12 miles from our town, so it was a bit of a drive to get back home. Lately, there have been quite a few drunk driving related accidents on the freeway in our area, so our parents suggested we take some quieter roads back instead. I didn't mind the extra driving. Also, Piri got her permit recently, and I promised to pull over at some point and let her get a little practice in. Even at this late hour, traffic was heavier in the city than one might expect. I felt quite relieved when we finally left the main roads. We didn't talk much about the movie. Piri was more interested in getting back to the playlist on her phone as soon as her seatbelt was on. Personally, I'm not too fond of having music, radio, or too much chatter going on when I'm driving. I'm only 19, but I've been told I drive like an old person. I usually respond by telling them they never met my 83-year-old grandmother who speeds regularly. I wasn't too happy with some of these back roads. It was narrow, with yellow lines that occasionally allowed oncoming traffic to come into our lane when passing another driver. About a decade back, my dad nearly crashed into a pickup after trying to get around a station wagon. "You gonna pull over soon?" I glanced over to see Piri still listening to her music. "Take the headphones out," I replied loudly, my eyes fixated on the road still. She took a few seconds to respond, pausing the music and turning to me. "I want to drive," she reiterated bluntly. "As soon as I find a good area to pull over." At the moment, there wasn't enough space on the side of the road to do so safely. "Cool." She then went back to listening to her music. A couple of minutes later, I noticed a widening on the side of the road. Putting on my blinker, I slowed down and pulled to the right. Before I'd even come to a full stop, Piri undid her seatbelt and leapt out of the car. I hated when she did that. As I undid my own seatbelt, she opened my door. "My turn." "Have a little patience, kid." She rolled her eyes, always annoyed when I referred to her as kid. As soon as I walked around to the other side, I saw her about to put the car into drive, and then I stopped her. "You seriously need to stop being so overzealous. You're not going to get your license rushing out before your instructor can get their seatbelt on." Piri's irked expression suddenly changed to one of concern. She knew I was right, and finally had the maturity to wait for me. I shut the door and clicked on my seatbelt. As soon as her foot hit the accelerator, though, the cautious side of her took a back seat. The speed limit on this road was 50, yet she was quickly pushing 60. "The last thing you need is a speeding ticket," I told her. "Just point out where the cop car is hiding and I'll hit the brakes." Despite her snarky remark, she listened and slowed the car to just under 55. "Was Kane like this when you rode with him?" She was referring to our elder brother. "Strict, like me. I'll probably have to tag along if you ever decide to take Josh out for a drive." That was our younger brother. We had kind of a big family, but Piri was the only girl. I guess I couldn't blame her for having a bit of a tomboyish nature. "That's probably a good idea," she laughed in agreement. "By the way, what's your deal with the radio when you drive? Why don't you want it on?" Briefly, she removed her right hand from the steering wheel and started fiddling with the radio. It was loud static at first, until she swiped the screen over to an alternative rock station. "I'll deal with it. Eyes on the road." My ears were already pained by the disc jockey's yammering. "Give it a moment, something good might come on." Sure enough, a song I didn't recognize started playing, but Piri's smile indicated that she knew it well. I wondered for a moment if she was going to sing along with her dying cat vocals. Luckily, she spared me, giving me the chance to find that the song was actually rather enjoyable. Uncharacteristically, my sister suddenly slowed down. Leaning closer to the wheel, she was staring over at the other lane. "Is that?" She stopped speaking, still slowing to half the speed limit. Looking in the same direction, I noticed a car up ahead that didn't have any headlights on. It was speeding down the street at a wild pace. Within a few seconds, we realized it was crossing into our lane. "Oh shit!" Piri turned to the right, hitting the brakes hard. It didn't do much to help since the other driver came at us at left lane freeway speed. Lucky. It was a blessing that they didn't hit us head on. They grazed past the driver's side, knocking the side view mirror clean off, and likely scraping all the paint off the side as well. Piri couldn't hide her fear as she gripped the wheel tightly, eyes wide with terror. A few seconds later, we heard the other car come to a screeching halt. "Oh my god," she exhaled heavily. "That crazy bastard almost killed us." "You did well getting out of the way like that," I reassured her. "I'm proud of you." "What the hell are we gonna do now?" The last time we'd been in an accident was 7 years ago. It was a minor fender bender, and I was too young to take any interest in the process. "We have to..." I glanced in the rearview mirror. The other car was partially off the road, and the driver door was fully open. Though it was dim, I could see quite a few streaks along the side of their car. Just then, I noticed what looked like the arm of the driver flop out limply. Oh shit, I think they passed out or something. Piri stared into the rearview mirror as well and gasped, "We should call the cops or something." "Yeah, but we should go over first and make sure. Also, we need to be careful. Pop the trunk." Piri did as I said. We stepped out around the same time. Slowly, we headed to the trunk, our eyes still focused on the limp arm of the driver. There didn't appear to be anyone else in the car with them. Under a flap in the back of the trunk, there was a small case. Opening it, I saw one of my dad's handguns. It was a bit heavy, still likely fully loaded. "Hey Jasper, you wonder if maybe they're, After slipping the gun into my right pocket and concealing it under my shirt, I shut the trunk, and together we headed over to the other car. "Are you conscious?" I felt awkward calling out, but I didn't get a response. Instead, the air suddenly permeated with an intense fetid odor. I'm not sure how to describe it other than what I would imagine hell to smell like. "Ugh, are there a bunch of skunks having an orgy around here or something?" Piri pulled her black t-shirt over her face. "Zombie skunks, maybe." Damn, this guy really must be unconscious. We really have to be careful though. "Hey, if you can hear me, say something." No response. "We're not gonna get too much closer, but my sister can call Piri and I stopped immediately. We could see most of the body of the passenger now. "What the hell is wrong with his face?" Piri stared in disbelief. At first, I wondered if maybe it was just the poor lighting, but now the smell made sense. I was no expert on human decomposition, but there was no way any human could have rotted away that much in a couple of minutes. "Piri, get back in the car." She ignored me, entranced by the horrific sight before us. I was just as bewildered by the sight. I wondered for a moment about all the crazy reasons a long-dead corpse was behind the wheel of a car. I considered the possibility that some killer had somehow managed to place him there and was now hiding away in another part. I didn't think that sort of thing could be pulled off in such a short time, though. Suddenly, the body slid out with the upper half now hanging out of the car. Piri shrieked, clutching my right arm hard. Together, we took a step back, still half shocked. "Oh shit, look!" Piri pointed directly at him. It took me a couple of seconds to realize of a logo on his jacket. Though still not easy to see in the dark, I recognized the upside-down outline of a bird with an arrow going directly through its heart. That jacket was something only worn by members of an organization called the Order of the Singing Raven. Our family happened to know more than enough about them and what they do. "Piri, just get back to the car." Slowly, we backed away from the body, lying halfway on the gravel. Only a few steps later, our hearts nearly jumped out of our chests. The corpse suddenly flashed as a massive grin, and its arms moved. Neither of us watched for long, though, to see whether or not it was going to come after us, akin to a scene from The Exorcist. We sprinted back to the car like athletes. I took the wheel, disregarding my own rules as I started the car without any seatbelt. Quickly, I accelerated, my grip practically imprinting on the wheel. "Floor it! That thing is right on our ass!" I did my best to ignore my sister as she went frantic right next to me. A couple of minutes later, I slowed down and managed to slip on my seatbelt. Giving a quick glance in the mirror, I didn't see anything behind us. Out of the corner of my eye, though, I could tell that Piri was shaking. "I didn't know they could do that," she said nervously. "We'll just be straight with Mom and Dad about this." They won't think you're crazy? I'd call you crazy." I have a way of unraveling the details. They know about the Singing Raven guys. We're not crazy, we're just more aware of them than we used to be. Neither of us said anything on the rest of the ride home. The lights were already off and our parents were probably asleep. Knowing Kane, he's probably still up surfing the web. I wanted to put off telling our parents what happened until morning, but the craziest of my thoughts told me the dead guy was still headed for us. I had to coax Piri to step out of the car, her fears also insisting he may be out there closer than we realized. About a minute later, we headed through the garage. As tired as we were, Piri and I knew we were going to be up for the rest of the night. Is this the end of Jasper and Piri's frightful tale? Please consider leaving a like and subscribing if you'd like to hear more. Thank you for listening. Until next time, this is Rainwalker, returning to the shadows.